Imagine a crystal-clear lake at dawn, surrounded by silent mountains. Its surface is so calm that it perfectly reflects the sky, almost like a mirror. But a single stone falling into the water can send ripples across it, distorting the reflection. The human mind is just like that, a space of clarity and potential, easily disrupted by the movements of the world. When was the last time you experienced that clarity? Not the absence of thought, but a moment when you saw things as they truly are, without judgment, without haste, without distractions. In the rush of modern life, we lose touch with this inner stillness. We are always running, always thinking, always searching for something. But where are we really going? Zen invites us to stop, to simply sit, not to achieve something, but to return to what we already are. This pause is not about escaping reality, but about diving deeply into it, about seeing what lies beyond the surface of things and of ourselves. Take a simple example, washing the dishes. For many, it's a routine, even tedious task. But in Zen, even washing dishes can be a transformative practice. When we are fully present, we feel the water, hear the sounds, and notice the texture of the plates. In that moment, something magical happens. The mind aligns with the body, and the present becomes complete. And then the question arises, how many moments in your life have you truly lived like this? How often have you been fully present? Zen teaches that the world is not something out there, but something that happens within us. Transforming the mind is transforming the world. Now, look around you. Everything you see, the chair you're sitting on, the ceiling above, the floor beneath your feet, are the settings of the life you are living right now. But are you really here? Zen is about awakening to this presence, about seeing beyond distractions. This journey begins now. And the first step is realizing, when was the last time you stopped to truly listen to your own mind? There is a story in Zen that says, when the noise stops, what remains is not emptiness, but fullness. Silence in Zen is not just the absence of sound, but a profound state of presence. It is in silence that we meet our real mind, free from the world's distractions. We live in an era where silence is a rare luxury. We are constantly connected, inundated with information, music, messages, and notifications. But what if for a moment we turned everything off? What would we discover? Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Silence is essential. We need silence just as much as we need air or sunlight. If our mind is full of words and thoughts, there is no space for ourselves." Try setting aside 5 minutes a day to be silent. You don't need a specific posture or a special place. Just stop and observe your breath. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Thoughts will arise, perhaps even more intensely. But gradually, you'll start to notice something extraordinary. Silence reveals truths that noise conceals. Centuries ago, in a village surrounded by mountains in Japan, there lived a young man named Hiroshi. He was known for his intelligence and determination, but also for his constant restlessness. Hiroshi always believed he needed something more, a better job, more money, greater recognition. He lived as if tomorrow held the solution to all his problems, but tomorrow never seemed to arrive. One day, tired of his dissatisfaction, he heard about a Zen master who lived in a monastery high in the mountains. It was said that the master had answers to life's great questions. Determined to find the peace he so deeply desired, Hiroshi decided to visit the master. When he arrived at the monastery, he was greeted by an old monk with bright eyes and a calm demeanor. The master patiently listened as Hiroshi poured out his worries about work, family expectations, his desire for success, and the emptiness that haunted him. When Hiroshi finished speaking, the master smiled and asked him to follow him to a nearby stream. There, the master picked up an empty jar, filled it with water from the stream, and said, "Hiroshi, look at the water in this jar. What do you see?" Hiroshi looked, but before he could answer, the master began shaking the jar. The water turned cloudy, filled with bubbles and particles. "Now, "What do you see?" the master asked again. "I can't see anything clearly," Hiroshi replied. The master placed the jar on the ground in silence. They stood there for minutes that felt like hours, until gradually the water in the jar began to settle. The master then pointed to it and said, "Now, look again." Hiroshi looked and saw that the water was clear, reflecting the sky above. The master smiled and said, "Your mind is like this water. When it is agitated, you cannot see clearly, but if you stop and let silence do its work, everything becomes clear." This simple teaching stayed with Hiroshi for the rest of his life, and it can stay with you too. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, imagine your mind as a jar of shaken water. Instead of trying to solve everything at once, allow yourself to stop, let the mind settle, and the answers will come naturally. One of Zen's most profound teachings is that everything in life is impermanent. From the emotions we feel to the moments we experience, nothing lasts forever. At first, this may seem frightening, but it is also liberating. Knowing that everything passes helps us value what we have now. Imagine a flower. It blooms, flourishes, wilts, and dies. Each stage is beautiful and necessary. However, if we try to hold on to the flower at its peak, we resist its nature. Impermanence teaches us to cherish each moment exactly as it is. Powerful practice is to reflect on something you fear losing. Ask yourself, if this weren't eternal, how would I treat it today? This perspective teaches us to live with more gratitude and appreciation. Like Hiroshi, you too can transform your life with simple practices. Try beginning tomorrow with 5 minutes of silence or bring full attention to a daily activity. Take a deep breath and start where you are. And here is my invitation to you. How about choosing one of these teachings and experimenting with it in your life for a week? It could be a mindfulness practice, a reflection on impermanence, or simply an effort to listen more and speak less. At the end of that week, ask yourself, what has changed? Share this message with someone who is also seeking more clarity and purpose. Send them this video, start a conversation, and begin a joint transformation. After all, when we transform our mind, we transform the world. The perfect moment to start is now. Breathe, observe, and take the first step.